I asked r/Premier League for their most out there predictions for the entire season, and some of what I got back would absolutely melt your mind. So let's take a look at some of these really weird things that you guys are actually expecting from this coming season. But before we do, please don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
Oh, and this time around, I actually do mean
Do it.
as any subscriber who leaves a comment down below with their wild predictions for the World Cup will be eligible to be featured in my next video. With that being said, let's do this. First off, I'd like to say I'm not going to try and pronounce usernames in case I butcher them all together and get several angry comments down below. However, our first prediction today is that Tottenham actually win a trophy without bottling it. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, come on, I'm even laughing at this. Well, don't laugh at this, because let's be honest with each other, because Tottenham have actually done extremely well in this transfer window. I would not be surprised, presuming they keep Conte around for the entire season, if they do push for the Premier League title. And being so good, and showing, of course, they're able to hold Liverpool to draws, beating Manchester City twice, in fact, doing the double over them this season, the season just gone even, I think they'd be able to do very well indeed in the cup runs. So I wouldn't put it past them that they actually do win a trophy this season and maybe even have a deep run into the Champions League. Our very next prediction today says that the absolute opposite fate is going to be what's coming down the tracks for Tottenham, and that is that Conte is the first manager to be sacked. Personally, I don't think he's going to be sacked, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is in fact the first manager to leave. We all know that he doesn't like to stick around at any club, regardless of how well he's doing. And if Tottenham don't live up to the hype, and they don't get a fantastic start in the Premier League, I would not be at all surprised if he does go, because they want to win their first trophy. He's made the investment, and if his investments don't pay off, I wouldn't be surprised if he jumps ship to another club that can deliver him the silverware. Just have to wait and see on these two, though. Here's a prediction that more than likely warrants an entire video by itself, and that is that 5 substitutions will give the bigger teams an advantage. And that is not exactly surprising. I don't know if this is so out there, but I wanted to throw this into the video just to comment on it. And that's the fact that if you are a big team and you have a lot of money to spend, you're going to end up with a squad that has a lot of depth. For example, Liverpool being able to just churn out players into games that they don't really mind towards the end of the season to focus on, say, the Champions League or the big high-end games in the Premier League. So the fact that you have this squad with such talented depth, if you can keep bringing more and more of your depth players on towards the end, that is, of course, going to be so beneficial for you. And yes, I do agree with this one, that 5 subs are going to give bigger teams an advantage. For any lovers of underdogs doing well, this would be something I'm sure we'd all love to see. And to be honest with you, this year, I'm actually pretty confident that this may well come off. Because we've got teams like Tottenham, we don't really know how high or how low they're going to end up finishing. They could win the Premier League by a mile, or they could just not live up to the expectations. We've then got Chelsea, and they are the ones in particular that I'm going to focus on for this. They've had to go through a terrible rebuilding phase, and I don't mean terrible as in they've done a bad job. I mean it's just come at the total wrong time, particularly when they were European champions. And to be honest with you, I don't know if they can really sustain a push for the title. They've also lost Antonio Rudiger, so it's going to be a case of just seeing how well their defence can hold up. Maybe another club will join them, but I do think a big 6 will finish 8th. We seem to be getting a lot of predictions going around regarding the top of the table, and this one suggests that Liverpool won't be in the top 2. Now, this one is indeed out there, because to say that a side who came within a single point of winning the title last season would come 3rd or lower, that is interesting, because really this season you have Manchester City, you have Erling Haaland. We all know they're going to score goals, and we know they're going to score a lot more goals than if they didn't have a striker, in which case they won the Premier League twice in a row, and some more times before that with just one Liverpool win in between. To top that all off, we have Tottenham as well, who may well become one of the best teams in the league, particularly attacking-wise, when they have Heung-min Son, who got a joint golden boot. So to say that Liverpool won't be in the top two, it's definitely out there, but it is indeed a slim possibility. Here we have someone really going out on a limb with 4 predictions, so let's burn through these as fast as we can. Man United will not struggle and push for title. Great, I get a chance to talk about Manchester United because, let's be honest, Ten Hag is doing a phenomenal job there at the minute. He's got one of the best team spirits, more than likely in the entire Premier League, despite the fact he's running such a strict regime. I would not be surprised if this does come off. Arsenal will be consistent all season and not bottle 4th place. They're not going to be consistent all season with such a young team, is what I would say. And won't bottle 4th place? More than likely they will get there just about, or be in and around without maybe bottling it this time. Frank Lampard is a tactical genius. Well, everyone would love to see it, but Everton certainly won't be in Europe. And Bournemouth not yo-yoing, well, there is a case for that. Dominic Solanke is a fantastic striker, and it's just going to come down to whether or not he can step up from the Championship to the Premier League level. Along with that, they've got Kiefer Moore, who's now going to a World Cup for the first time in his life, and he's going to be wanting to be in prime form. So if they can score so many goals, particularly towards the start of the season and into the World Cup break, it could happen that Bournemouth stay up. Our final bout then of predictions for today, starting with Manchester United and Arsenal to get top 4. As I've said, Manchester United, yeah, definitely, they're going to be there. They're going to have a much better season than last year with their new manager. Arsenal as well, it's going to be a little closer. I would predict for them something a little more similar to the season just gone. Aston Villa securing European spot, there's an interesting one. While personally, I don't think it's going to happen, I do think it's definitely a very, very decent possibility, and there should be great optimism amongst Aston Villa's fan base. Chelsea to finish 6th at best. Not sure about at best, but I could definitely see them being lower than they usually are. 6th, maybe a little bit harsh, but as I said earlier in the video, I said they could even finish 8th. So you never know. That's just going to depend on the seasons of, say, West Ham or Leicester to really knock them off their perch. Nottingham Forest for a top half finish. If you want, go and watch my video where I spoke for 4.5 solid minutes of how I'm sure they're going to hit Conference League at minimum, and I'm going to really pay for that at the end of the season. And to finish up, Everton and Leeds to get relegated. Leeds without Rafinha have a lot of money, but they also have no Calvin Phillips, so that's going to be a little bit painful for them, and that could possibly happen. And Everton, well, they don't have Richarlison anymore, and they are being beaten up by sides out of the Premier League. We're just going to have to wait and see on all of these, but these are some very solid predictions from our last ones. So what do you think? Do you agree with any of these predictions made by the people of Reddit? Well, let me know down in the comments below, and also let me know your World Cup wildest predictions down in those comments as well for a chance to be featured in the next video. And with that being said, see you next time.